Hey guys, thanks for coming out, checking out Lithos and Lasers. I enjoy making tutorials for you, helping everybody learn how to use their Glowforge. I try to keep them short. As you'll see, it never happens. So sit back, relax. If you enjoy this content, it really helps if you hit like and subscribe. I hate to ask, but it really does help the channel and keep me motivated to make more tutorials. So without further ado, on to the content. Alright, hey everybody, this is Terry from Lithos and Lasers, and today we're going to be working on a sports sign from Homestyle Customs, and we're going to make a large sign. It can be any size you want, but I'm going to kind of go pretty big, and then while I'm at it, I might show you how to make it small as well, make it like an ornament. So I've decided, I've already done some demo cuts of karate and soccer, of soccer and football, so I'm going to do karate. So I'm going to go to our files here, and I'm going to open up two. I'm going to open up the offset backer, and I'm going to open up the main design. And so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go grab that backer, and I'm going to give it a different fill just so I can see it kind of clear. This is temporary. I'm going to copy that whole thing. I'm going to paste it over here with our main design. So the point of what I'm doing is that we can resize them, and we resize them together. If we resize them separately, they might not match up quite perfect. So we have our back layer, we have our front. For clarity, I think I'm going to change this outline here to red, just something different. I guess I could have chose a different color for that fill, but all right. Currently, you'll see that this is also a separate item. So I'm going to undo that move, and for the moment, I'm going to join or group those two things together. I'm going to select both of our items here. I'm going to align them twice. All right. So right now, it doesn't matter what layers that we see, but if you want to see your design still there, we can just overlap them. And so the point is, the current size is just under 10.5 wide by 13.75 tall. And I loaded up a full Glowforge size sheet basically out there. I've got a 12 by 18.5, I believe, loaded up. So I'm going to rotate this whole thing. And then on our height, see, we're at 10.45, which is fine, but I want to go just a little bit bigger. So I'm going to go 10.9 inches on our height. And that's going to give us 14.35 in the end tall. Right now that's wide. So we have resized both sections at the same time. We know what our maximum is, and that's our offset backer. So now I'm just going to drag these two things apart. We've got our backer for later use. We've got our front. I'm just going to fix our artboard so that we can see everything. All right. So next we're going to add our name. The name I have been using a lot. Actually, let me go ahead and type one and I'll show you. Get off of there. My son is Joshua. And one of the ones I've been using for the football, the soccer, etc. is a Sports Champ font here. I'm going to zoom in on it real quick and show you. I got it off of Design Bundles for a couple dollars. And that's a plain version, and it looks nice. But they also have baseball, basketball, football, golf, the regular one, but with an outline. Just the regular one, which I'm using, soccer, and a volleyball. So if you're going to be scoring your text and not doing a cutout or something, these could enhance what you got. In this case, we're doing karate, and I'm going to use a karate font I have. So I think that's fitting. And earlier we joined the background and the foreground, or we joined those two pieces together. So if I move them now, they're moving together. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to decide if I like the gap that we have, and I think that's a good size for what I did. So I'm going to type create outlines. If you do your centering before you create outlines, oftentimes this box around your text is extra large and you're not really going to get a true center. So now we've converted it to paths, so we just have our text. I'm going to select our other object here. We're going to do the alignment again. So Joshua is now perfectly centered on this whole design, including the space that goes out there to the foot. If we wanted it to be center and not include that foot area, what I would do, let's go ahead and do it. I'm going to grab a rectangle. I'm going to make it some weird other color. And I'm going to draw it the same basic shape as our main shape. Let's go ahead and make that just a outline. We're going to take that yellow and Joshua, and we're going to center those. I grabbed the wrong one. There we go. So now if we center, we're getting pretty much the same. So never mind. Okay, so that's really all we have to do for this part. When you go to cut it, we can decide that that's going to be scored, and then you peel your masking off and you spray paint right there, or however you like to paint. Or we can decide to score that spot, and then we'll cut those exact same size letters again off of a scrap piece, and we'll glue them on for a 3D effect, which for this sign I'm probably going to do. And then the other option is you could engrave it. And then if you were engraving it and it was a football or soccer sign or something, you could pick up that font I showed at the beginning and just add a little bit of dimension to it. So right now we're doing pretty good. I'm going to make sure that all of our colors are separate. Right now Joshua is black, just like this body, and I want to have separate control over that. So doesn't matter what color it is, I'm going to make it pink. And before I move anything, I'm going to go ahead and group these together. And then I grab those two things, just put them on the same plane, and I'm going to export those. I export as PDF. I have found if you use SVG or something, you can do that. but you're going to have to do an extra step. So first I'm going to show you how to save as a PDF. So we're going to select our items, export our selection, and that's going to be Josh Karate large. And then if we were going to do it as a SVG, you would do a save as. We would put it in the same spot. Josh Karate large. But we would say that it's going to be an SVG. And when we go to save it, we're going to have another dialog. And in this dialog, we want to make sure that responsive is not checked. If responsive is checked, these will be a different size than we told it. So as long as responsive is not checked, when you hit save, I'll go ahead and hit save. It'll save you out an SVG, and it will be the exact size that you told it to be. So now we're going to go over to Glowforge. I'm going to load up, just to show you, I'm going to load up our SVG. And we're going to see that it remained 10.9. So we click that, hit our size. We're 10.903. That'll work. Let's open up our PDF. $10.9. So we got a little bit extra size on our SVG, but I'm sure that they resized together, so it was fine. So I have a piece of whiteboard loaded up now, and I'm going to use white. Trying to think if I want white to be the front or white to be the back. And then we have Joshua here, who's going to be an alternate color. Maybe a color, or maybe just black and white. And I think the gi and stuff is going to be white. So, going to rotate this. If you hold shift when you do your rotate, then it rotates at steps. If you do not hold shift, it's a free form. So, just let go, hit undo. Let's do that. I'm going to drag it roughly into place. I'm going to set focus on my material. Notice that my material right now is unknown. There's no need to choose any kind of a proof grade setting and then adjust it down, or play with the speed and the power. Just set the speed and the power you want. So in this case, Joshua is going to be a score, just so I know where to place it later. And my material's masked, so to get through that, I'm going to do like a 10. And we're going to have just a really light shadow to know where to put Joshua. Next, we have our main body, and I have a proof grade or a custom preset loaded up. So the material I have is the 907231 blackboard whiteboard from Lowe's. That is 0.118 thick. They have another one that is same item number, and it's like 0.18 thick and hard to cut for some. So for this material, I know that I can cut it 150 full, and normally I set this to autofocus, but it wasn't cutting as perfect with autofocus yesterday as it was if I typed in the focus. So I'm putting the material thickness here. That's the only place you have to put it. And then, so we see that we're going to cut here. We got to find out which one of these is our back. This is going to cut also with our lows preset. You just saw it go red. So this guy we're not using right now. As long as he's off the bed, it can sit there. We could even tell it right now, hey, whenever you're able to cut it, we're going to use that setting. It's fine. It's going to ignore it because it's not in the area. So I've already set focus. That's going to help you make sure that everything is on the bed before you cut. Next, we want to make sure our things are lit up red. If we leave the red area, or we leave out into the, I'm pointing. If we get out here into the gray, our things deactivate and they tell you you can't do that right now. So I could cut that right now, but as you see, I'm off my material. So I'm going to go up to there. And we're ready to cut. So before I hit cut, I want to also cover real quick, what if we wanted that to be smaller? So let's stack both items again. And Joshua is tied into it as well. So stack. And now I like a 4-inch ornament before we put the hanger. Now we've got this foot up here, so actually I'm going to go with high. I want 4.25. Then I'm going to drag our layers apart again. And I'm going to make an ornament hanger. We're just going to grab a ellipse. We're going to make this 0.5 inches. I'm going to copy and paste it. And I'm going to change its color. You don't have to change its color, it's temporary, but just helps us see it and grab it. All right. That doesn't need a stroke. This doesn't need a stroke either. All right. And then this one, we're going to make it 0.25 inches. We're going to line them. Green is on top. We are going to go to our Pathfinder. And we're going to minus the front. So now we have a nice little loop. I'm going to go to my view and I'm going to turn on our smart guide. And now when I get to about the halfway point, it's going to kind of lock, right? It's kind of riding that rail. So I'm going to move this one out for a minute to make sure that's not messing with me. So there we are. We're going to center those. And then I'm going to grab those two things, Pathfinder, and I'm going to unite them. And so now that's one piece, and we have a nice little loop to hang our ornament on. Let me zoom out. I'm going to align our two things together again. I'm going to send this one to the back just to view it. And now I'm going to ungroup that just for a second so we can show what if that had a fill. trying to get the fill for this section. Anyway, this would be your ornament. I wouldn't try cutting everything out at that size. Honestly, what I would do, I mean, you could try it. It's cheap whiteboard, and you're not using a whole lot. But I would probably mask the whole piece, and then and score all this, and then I would go out and peel out the sections and spray paint it. But that's up to you. But that's an easy way to make a small ornament. Make it whatever size you want, and then merge this thing on there. So back to our Glowforge. We're ready to cut our white section. If your eagle eye saying you're off your wood here, my masking is actually just a little bit crooked right here. My wood extends down to here, so we're lined up. We're good. And this should be a pretty quick cut. I usually guess at this point, and I'm going to guess 16 minutes. I'm usually off a couple in my guess. While we're waiting for Glowforge servers, just point out, first we're going to score lightly the word Joshua. Then we're going to cut our main body, and then we're going to cut our outline when we're done. And we're going to ignore this because it's not in the print area. And our finished item, it's going to be 10.386 high and 13.866 wide. Why is it not 10.9? Because our backer is going to be 10.9. It's an offset backer, so our backer is bigger than our main design here. Okay, 13 minutes. It's actually a little bit faster than I thought. So I'm going to go out there, I'm going to start it up, and I'll see you in a second. All right, we're out here, and I'm going to hit the button. As you see, I got my whiteboard loaded up. I have another piece ready to go for our backer. And I've labeled this one black just so I can tell. White side is here. So we're going to check back on this in 13 minutes, and I'm going to do a time lapse for now. Alright, so our part is cut. Looks great. Side note, I got lucky because I said that my masking didn't quite cover my paper, but actually my paper was overcutting my masking. And I got right there. I got lucky. So we'll make sure we're not pushing it so hard when we cut the black. So pop this out. Looks like I have to help the head out just a tiny bit. I'm one-handed here, so bear with me. We got good cuts though. Yeah, tiny bit on the back of the head right there for some reason. Maybe I'll put you down for a second, use my little razor blade. It is right there though. Something I'll often do is just drop it. Help knock out some pieces. So use my little tool here. You get these things at Harbor Freight in a couple different shapes. 4 for $1 some odd. Once we get both parts done, we'll give it its paint job. So 150 was working pretty good, so that's what I went to. Looks like this one tonight might have been a little bit happier with 140. We're masked, so it doesn't matter. I can't imagine this ear as a cut at point, like the 4-inch version. Good luck. Oh, got a little bit of stuff down here, and then I'll see what's going up with this guy. That's just part of what happens. No big deal. There we go. So I'm working on the eyeball. Eyeball's good. Now, sorry. That ear's been a little bit of a pain. I see why. All right. We're good. One more spot right here. So you then peel it. I think you get the point. I'll save you all the tedious part here. Did you guys know of the Gorilla Glue? I'm sorry, the Gorilla Tape hack? So, when you got little tedious stuff and you don't want to be messing with it all day long, you put your tape there and then you peel it. And then you save your fingernails. So, add that to your toolbox. So, we are done with our backer, or with our front, as it were. That's a pretty good piece of scrap. We could even get Joshua out of that. So I'm going to keep that. I'm going to clean up the machine real quick, and we're going to get ready for our backer. If you don't have one of those, you need one of those. Alright. I'm going to line it up further down this time so we don't run into that problem we had last time. And let's go cut a backer. Okay, it's time to glue it. So we could super glue it. This is kind of my normal thing, but with ornaments and stuff recently, my go-to has been 3M Super 77. I was using Gorilla Glue spray adhesive. I'm finding the Super 77 to be a bit stronger, a bit more reliable. So get good at the edges. It likes to tell you to hang out for 30 seconds, a minute or so, just to get a bit tacky. It also works really good if you can spray that surface as well. We can't for what we're doing because you would have exposed glue in all of these cutouts. So that's not going to work. Other times I also like to score the back just so that we know where it's going to go. But it's pretty consistent, so we should be able to eyeball that. No problem. All right, let's attach our backer. Try to get our try to be uniform in this. It looks pretty good. Press it down. Now, if you can see, we have some tiny score marks where our text was going to go. So add a bit of glue. Try to go a little bit easy on the glue because you don't really want it seeping out. Also, most of this glue says like a dot per inch. So a couple dots is plenty. The scoring is so fine that if you're off a little bit, you're probably not going to see that. Don't do that. It can dry and show you those mistakes. So another hint from Matthew, or home style, is that if you keep the piece of wood that these all came out of, even if you cut it down to a smaller box around your text, it makes it a lot easier to get everything aligned up exactly where it was quickly and easily. I was going to cut the section around this text free on the Glowforge, but it's out there making ornaments right now, so I didn't want to wait for that job. So I'm just doing this by eye. When we're done, we can put it on a stand. We can throw some command adhesive on it, hang it on a door. Dries pretty quick. All right. So there's our completed stand. Looks pretty good. Let me move you on up. And So this one's 10.9 tall. So in this orientation, it's the max. We could have rotated it like this and cut it. Maybe got a little bit bigger size. Actually, that's what we did. This is 10.9. So this is kind of the max on the basic without tricks. I can go 17.5 tall. And then whatever that equals out wide, but that's a lot of work, a lot of alignment. So it'd have to be a special case to do that, and then they're going to pay a lot more. So anyway, I hope that helps you guys, and I'm going to post another video in a second just about painting whiteboard. All right, take care. Okay, so we talked about it a little bit briefly about an ornament. So this ornament I created, you saw me do that earlier in the video. It's 4.25 tall. We've got a nice little hook here. I've simplified it down to 2 colors, and what we're going to do is we're going to engrave it. I'm using a material that is black core with a white top. You'll engrave away the white or reveal black underneath. You can do the same thing by painting a piece of wood or acrylic or something white and then doing the same process. So we've got our file. I do not recall having any settings for this material, and it's very, very thin. So what I'll probably do, because it's so thin, is I'm going to cut a piece of wood really thin in the same shape and then just laminate the two things together. There's not going to be any cutouts in our shape here. So let's just get started with some settings. And you know, we could end up wrong. It happens. But I think 1060 is a good starting spot. So all of this blue stuff is going to turn white. I know that we're going to cut this out in the end. Let me see, is that? Yeah, that's the outline. So I think I have a preset for some really thin stuff. Let's see what cardboard took. 325 full. Hmm. 145. Okay, I'm gonna do something manual. I'm gonna try, because it's so thin, I'm gonna try something like 160 full, let it autofocus. I'm gonna save as much material as I can. Oh, his foot was out there. I was watching the hook. And then we have this inner spot. I think I'm going to score that. But I'm going to score it, I think, pretty fast. 500 and maybe 30 power. Again, the material is really thin. I want to cut through it. Give yourself a little bit of leeway. I could go right up to this corner, but if it's off in the alignment and I lose part of his foot, well, that'll suck, and there's not enough material left over to do it. So this line, trying to see what that line is. Oh, that's our outside. So what was this one? Zoom in and see if we can tell what that line was. Oh, looks like we have two actions for our outside line. So I'm going to ignore that. We've got an engrave, we've got a score, we've got a cut. and then we will cut this on wood and just glue it up. So engrave's going to be a little bit slow. I'm going to guess we're looking at 12 minutes on a 4-inch. Let's say that the engrave isn't as good as I think it is. Man, I'm getting good at this estimating. Then we'll just leave everything where it's at and run our engrave pass again. So I'll see you out there at the Glowforge. All right, let's hit our magic button. This stuff is by Trotec. It says TrotecMaterials.com. I usually go to EngravingSupplies.com. I won't film the whole 4 minutes. Let's just see if it looks like it's working. So this material leaves a little bit of dust around. We can try to clean that out with a toothbrush and some LA Awesome. We got a little bit of a tint when we did our cut. But I'm gonna go see if we can clean this up a little bit. Some LA Awesome. All right, it cleaned up pretty good. It didn't get rid of all those streaks in the middle, but you know what? I think I like it. It adds to the background. And I decided it's not really going to need to be thicker. It's not floppy, so it could be an ornament just as it is. I decided to go back in and add my son's karate studio logo on the back of that, just to see. I think it looks good.